People say it takes time. So people, for example, like wait for 6 months, like a year, and like no results come. Ads basically are 80% of the search. So I think that AI will probably go on the same course as Google. Articles are not as important as backlinks, but they still have their importance.
Before we begin the podcast, I have a super simple ask for you. If you could subscribe to the channel, that would help us reach more business owners every single day. Thank you. Let's begin. Vladi, you've worked on quite a number of SEO projects. Your website states, quote, unprofitable SEO is a thing of the past. Now, my audience is in real estate, so what are you doing within SEO to make it profitable, and how can real estate agents use this information?
Yeah, so you see, the problem with most SEOs, at least in my opinion, whether it's agencies or freelancers, is that they can't like really provide an actual ROI when it comes to SEO. And as you may probably know, because you are in the business yourself, so there's a popular saying, I mean, not saying, but you will hear this a lot with SEOs, is that people say it takes time. So people, for example, like wait for 6 months, like a year, and like no results come. But I honestly don't really believe in that, if you were to ask me, because I think that if a business owner invests money into something, into marketing, for example, like SEO, it's understandable that they would want a return on that investment. And there are, in my opinion, like in my experience specifically, there are ways to speed up the process to get tangible SEO results much faster than you would normally get, basically. The problem I see in the SEO industry, and it's what makes it unprofitable, in my opinion, is that people tend to focus too much on things that don't really move the needle, if that makes sense. For example, two popular factors, if we could call them that way, like let's call them factors that are not as important as you might think they are, or at least from what you can see online, basically, are content and optimization. Uh, Optimization in the sense of like on page SEO, URL optimization, tag optimization, and all of these things. Well, these things that I mentioned are still important for SEO. Don't get me wrong, but they are not as important as, for example, authority and backlinks, in my opinion, specifically. What's authority like? I don't know if your audience knows about it, but probably not. So I'm going to explain it in very simple terms. Think of authority as like a hidden score that Google gives you to your website, and it's generally, we usually classify it as a number that goes from 0 to 100, and the closer you are to 100, the more authoritative your website is, basically, and the easier it will be for you to rank high for like specific keywords that you want to rank for. How do you increase this authority? There are a couple ways to do that, but mainly there are two ways, in my experience, and those would be backlinks and topical authority. A backlink, like in very simple terms, is when a website links to another website. So, for example, let's say you have your website that's called the website A, and you have another website that's called let's call it like website B, for example. And if website B links to your website A, you got a backlink, basically. So it's when another website links to your website.
I 100%
Backlink.
agree on this. I'm actually going to chime in here. So, one thing that I noticed a lot in real estate SEO specifically is everyone goes super, super heavy on blog posts. And here's the thing,
Mm,
95% of real estate SEO, the traffic doesn't come from the blog posts. It actually comes from these searches. So, like houses for sale in X or houses for sale in
yeah.
Y. And so, like you said, if you go really, really heavy on the backlinks, you're going to see results faster. So a lot of people are like, oh, I can get results like right away. No, you're not going to get results right away. But a lot of people will tell you, oh, it's going to take me like a year. I can get you to page one within 2 months if you have nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Basically, yeah. Basically.
it's just playing to the 20%, right? Like what is actually going to move the needle versus just writing posts, right?
Yeah, yeah, because also you have also to keep in mind that Google is a search engine, so it's basically a machine. So it can't really determine whether your content is high quality or not. If you think about it, like logically, you like if you give two blog posts, like how does Google say, like for example, this post goes to rank one and this one goes to rank 100, for example, and the method that Google uses, or at least what most SEOs like think, is that it bases like the rankings based on your authority. So basically, if you have a high authority, if your content is at least decent, like good, you're gonna rank high. Like as long as you have backlinks and you have authority, you're gonna rank high. So that's the gist of it.
Yeah, I think what's
And
was really funny about that as well is a lot of people will actually start making blog posts for the intent of getting backlinks, not actually for the intent of getting traffic.
yeah, that doesn't make much sense. So yeah, because basically, I mean, you in theory you could rank without backlinks and without authority, but the keywords that you have to rank for should, like, they have to be so obscure and so like with so little like monthly searches that it's basically you can just publish whatever you want and you can rank. But if the keyword has some degree of difficulty, at least like 30 or upwards, you are never going to rank like with just content. It's just basically impossible.
Right. What kind of keywords are you typically targeting? So break that down for me. Is there a specific difficulty that you want to go for? Is it, I'm assuming it's primarily
Yeah.
traffic, and then I'm assuming intent, but like what specifically do you look for?
Yeah, so what I do with most of the businesses that I work for, like I don't have much experience specifically with real estate, also because real estate is mainly with local SEO, and I work mainly with international SEO. But like the core principles apply still. Like it doesn't really matter like what industry you work in. It's just like the basis of SEO. And what I do is basically I first make a big list of keywords, like a big list of keywords related to the specific like niche that the specific business works in. And out of all of those keywords, I first, like when I'm doing like the whole strategy like for keywords and content, I first pick the easiest keywords so that we can get some traction going first. So for easy keyword, I would say it's anything like below 20, like 30, 20. That would be like a basically an easy keyword. Like it's better, like the lower it is the difficulty the better, but of course it has to have some monthly searches, because you can find a lot of easy keywords but they have zero searches, so that's not good, of course. And like you have to find the good the right balance, because it needs to be easy to rank for, but it also doesn't need to be too difficult to rank for. And that's like the sweet spot for the first keywords that I would rank for, at least at the start.
Yeah, I definitely think going for super easy keywords. I know what I really like to do to find keywords that are super easy are going to Ahrefs, set a DR, right? So what's the highest domain rating that's ranking in the top 5, and then go off of that. Because a lot of times, especially when you have like smaller keywords where there isn't a ton of traffic, it's hard to gauge what the actual
Yep.
difficulty of it is. So I'll give a really good example
Yep.
of this. Like if I do homes for sale and then a bigger city in the area, oftentimes I'm going to get a keyword difficulty of like 5, like 0 to 5.
Mm.
But to actually rank in the top 5, that's a different story because we're competing with Zillow, Realtor.com, these guys with
Yep.
like
Yep.
95 DR. So you need to be cognizant of that as well. Do you run into
Yeah.
that at all?
Yeah, actually, yeah. But I mean, it depends on the industry, because, for example, I have like a personal experience about this. Is I have an e-commerce client that sells a specific product in the medical niche, which is in general it's pretty tough to rank for. And for example, for their keywords, like there are a lot of keywords that are, for example, I don't know. Are you familiar with the circadian rhythm? Do you know what that is?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a medical term, and that's one of the like biggest keywords that they want to rank for. And the problem with that term is that most of the like the top five competitors, like SEO competitors that they have, are like guys like the Mayo Clinic, like the Cleveland Clinic, and they all are like 100 authority or something. So it's basically impossible to rank for those. And also they rank for some keywords that they don't optimize for, but they still rank for those keywords like indirectly, because their authority is so high that they're gonna rank anyway. So even if, for example, SEMrush and Ahrefs shows you like a keyword difficulty of 10, you are gonna search for that keyword on Google and you're gonna find like these guys that have super high authority, and you still cannot rank for those keywords. You still need some authority. you then optimize for that keyword which they didn't optimize for, and then you can rank.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's really nice is if you go really, really heavy and you go super, super domain focused. So one of the advantages with local SEO is that you can go, okay, let's say I'm in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So we'll say I'm going for Stevens Point. If you make 95% of the website about Stevens Point, sometimes on the off chance you can outrank those super high authorities, but it's a royal pain.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you cannot rank them, but you still have to find keywords that they are not specifically optimized for. Because if they are specifically optimizing for that keyword, it's basically impossible, at least in my opinion, to outrank them.
I
At
actually
least yeah, at least on international SEO. I'm
on
not like 100% sure on local.
on local, I'm actually getting some luck. So I'll outrank
Mm,
Zillow and
okay,
Realtor.com on certain queries, but it's not
okay.
like, so I'll give you a good example. The major cities in Wisconsin are like Milwaukee, Madison, those two. I'm never going to outrank Zillow or Realtor.com or House on any of those on Madison or Milwaukee. But a lot of the smaller towns, it's 100% possible, and there's still good traffic there. So it's just a matter of picking the right keyword and what you really want to levy in on.
Yeah, yeah, basically. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because I mean, you can use like for keyword difficulty specifically, you can use tools to determine it because these tools basically do a guesstimate about keyword difficulty. But once you have the actual like list of keywords that you have, you still have to check each keyword one by one because you have to actually check like who are like the top like guys that are in the search basically, because if they are like super high authority you have to like change your strategy a bit.
Real estate agents, are you struggling to capture leads? If you're struggling to capture leads through your website, we can help. We've created a step by step guide on how to use our lead capture engine. It's the system we've used on all of our real estate websites to capture sellers, including Cade Covey, who earned an extra $80,000 in just 3 months by working with us. Are you ready to set up your lead capture engine? Visit dmrmedia.org/hashtag gift to learn more about how we can get warm leads like a pro. I 100% agree. What's your go-to for getting backlinks? Are you just doing guest posts? Are you paying for backlinks? How are you going about it?
uh, yeah, I mean this is actually this is actually a good question because I uh, it's not that I hate, because it's a little bit of of a strong word, hate, but in my opinion all backlinks are all paid for. Like it's very difficult at like there are some specific cases where you can get backlinks for free, and we can talk about that later. But in 99% of cases, you are paying for backlinks, because what you will find with some SEOs is that they tell you we offer natural backlinks, but at the end of the day, they're still paying. So what they do naturally is they outreach to some specific websites, but at the end of the day, they're still paying for the guest post or like the niche edit or whatever it is. So at the end of the day, it's still paid for. And yeah, for my clients I still, yeah, I do it's either guest posts, it's the majority of them, and sometimes I also do like for link diversity I also do some niche edits.
Okay. Yeah, I really like that. I've been really heavy on both of those as well, niche edits and then the guest posts. I actually have a guy whose his entire job is to go out and go, "Hey, can we do a guest post with you?" To basically every news outlet, everyone who does blog, anything within housing.
Yeah, yeah,
So like that's really the only way to get backlinks, and you need to be a lot of
yeah.
people need to be more forward with it because you're not going to get the capacity of backlinks that you need any other way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I mentioned before, there are some people, like some websites that get backlinks for free. For example, if you go, let's say, if you search for like SEO guides, you will find, for example, SEMrush or Ahrefs, like with a ton of blogs. Those blogs get like thousands of backlinks, but to get to that point, they first and foremost they paid for a lot of that backlink, for a lot of those backlinks, like a lot of PRs, like they spent an absurd amount of money to get there. But once you are there, of course you're going to get like free backlinks, but before that you have to invest in backlinks.
I think one of the cheekiest ways that I've seen is doing embeds. Like people will just be, oh, here's a free embed, and then you embed it on the website, boom, backlink. And as long as it's set up
Yeah,
properly.
yeah, there are some cheeky ways. Like for example, one of the, I mean, it's not really cheeky, but one of the things that I do for, especially for new clients, is that I try to leverage the relationships that they have with people in their industry. So, for example, in the specific case that I made before with the client in the medical field, they, for example, they know a couple of like scientists or like researchers in that specific niche, and they would basically ask these people if they want us to like do a guest post for free. Of course, like we do, basically we do backlink exchange, and that's for free. So one of the advice that I would give is to basically to leverage these relationships first, because sometimes like people ignore these things. Even clients, like they ignore these things because they're not really into SEO as much as you are. So like the first thing that you should do is leverage the relationships, and then you can go to the paid part.
Yeah, I 100% agree. One of the things that I saw people doing is, are you familiar with what BNI is?
BNI,
Yeah.
what's that?
It's like a networking group. So what you do is you go
Uh,
around and then you have a 1 minute speech where you're like, give an ask. And there's a ton of different groups all across at least the US. I don't know if there's any
mm,
elsewhere. But what you can do
not
is
sure.
you can join like virtually other meetings. So I was talking to some guys, and what they would do is they'd be in BNI, not for the sake of getting business, but for the sake of getting backlinks. Because
Mm.
if you have someone halfway across the
Nice.
country, you just join a BNI group, say, hey, can I post it on your website? Backlinks.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, there are definitely some ways to get like free backlinks, but if you want to do them at scale, like the best way is to just invest money into guest postings and niche edits. Or if you have like a very big budget, there's also PR, but PR costs a lot of money, and it's inaccessible for most businesses
Yeah,
because we're
PR's really
talking about
hard.
thousands of dollars per month minimum.
Yeah. So we kind of covered the backlinks here. What about article writing? Talk to me about that. What's your strategy?
Uh, Yeah. So, I mean, Oracle, like I mentioned before, that articles are not as important as backlinks, but they still have their importance, because one of the two ways that you can get authority from is with something called topical authority. And topical authority is basically how much Google and other search engines trust your website as an expert on a specific topic or subject area. And how do you become an expert on a specific topic or subject area? By basically publishing a lot of content, like a lot of quality and diversified content about that topic. And the more content you have on that specific topic, the more like Google is going to see you as this big authority, and it's going to like prioritize your website, sometimes also based on authority, of course, because authority is like the main thing. But other than that, you also have to focus on the on this like topical authority to like increase even more your authority.
Yeah. With that, do you go intentionally do keyword research for that as well?
Yeah. Like for my keyword research specifically, if you want to dive a little bit into that, what I do is basically I pick the main keyword. Like usually there are like a couple of big keywords that your client is going to rank for, or if you are a business owner, you are going to rank for like a couple of very specific keywords that are very big and very, let's say, hard to rank for in most cases. I pick those keywords. I pick an SEO software, and this can be any software you want. Like it can be Ahrefs, SEMrush, or whatever you want. Like I specifically use SEMrush, but you can use anything you're comfortable with. I plug that keyword into the tool, and I find who the top SEO competitors are for that keyword, which are going to be basically the top five guys that rank for those hard keywords. I basically copy paste their URLs on the same tool, for example, SEMrush, and I basically go into a section that gives me all the organic keywords that they rank for each of these top five competitors. I basically pick all of their keywords and the keywords that they are not optimizing for, and I start from those, because if they are ranking for those keywords, they're probably uh, I mean, they probably have some use to them. Like they have some traffic, they have some people who basically have spending intent, and I start from those and then go up.
Smart. Smart. I like it. So, one thing with URLs, how are you structuring your URLs? Are you just copying and pasting the keyword, or are you just essentially recreating the title tag?
Uh, yeah, I mean, of course, the keyword, like the main keyword, should always be there, and I try to always get it as short as I can. So if I can just use the keyword, I use just that. But if it's not clear, because I mean, it has to have a right balance between being SEO optimized, but it also has to be like, it doesn't have to sound too robotic, if that makes sense. So it does it like, if you look at the URL, you have to know what the content will be about. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So, when you're writing the article, my next question for you is headings. What I really like to do is I like to start H1, of course, include the keyword, first two
Yeah,
H2s, include the keyword, and then rest of that, just create an article similar to what's already ranking. How do you
yeah,
go about
yeah.
headings? Is it similar?
Yeah. Like, I think that the most important thing is that you have the main keyword in the H1 and maybe in the first H2. And then you have, I mean, you need to have like the main keyword like scattered around the article, of course, but you don't have to be too precise with it, because I see a lot of people like saying like you need this amount of keywords in there, otherwise Google won't pick up on the article, which is completely false. Because I mean, maybe it was true like 15 years ago, but now like Google is pretty smart, and as long as you have the keyword in the title, in the first paragraph, like the intro, and the first couple H2, and a couple times during the, like, throughout the whole article, you are going to rank for it. You don't need to optimize it more than that, because if you optimize it too much, you run into the opposite problem where you have too much optimization and you might get penalized for that.
Yeah, exactly what I'm running into. Like, I'm training a new copywriter right now. He's not super familiar with SEO specifically. He's just been doing traditional writing. And I'm like, dude, like literally all I need you to do is make sure that you pass these checks. And it's the H1, H2, and then having the keyword somewhere in the first paragraph. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say the other thing that's really important is a good hook. Because as much as
yeah.
Google is like, listen, we don't track like time on page, I think most people are going to call BS on that. So,
Yeah, I honestly think that too. Yeah, because I mean, I think that if people stick to your website for a long time, it's a pretty clear sign that your content is doing something good. And in fact, for that reason exactly, what I do is to try to basically lure the visitor in through the title, basically. uh, After the title, your introduction needs to be good. It doesn't have to be like, because this is another topic that we can discuss about, like the introduction, which is, I think personally, other than the H1, the introduction is the most important part of your article, because it's what basically makes the difference between them staying for like 30 seconds into your article or clicking right away from it. And and I mean, yeah, that's basically it. Like the most important parts of every article are the. I mean, of course, there is also the information inside the article, but the most important parts at the start, at least, are the title and the introduction.
yeah, 100%. 100%. One of the other things I wanted to ask you about is the AI or GEO optimization. People keep calling it different
Yeah,
things like AEO, GEO, but basically just
yeah,
optimizing for generative search. So, Search GPT, Perplexity.
yeah.
What's been your experience?
So, I mean, I've personally never tried to optimize for AI search as of right now, like yet. I'm sorry, because it's, I mean, it's such a new and like uncharted territory for me, that basically no one knows yet on the internet how to properly optimize for it. I've seen a few people in the industry. For example, I've seen, I think Neil Patel, it was, I believe, yeah, it was him probably, that made a case study ranking for some keywords and trying to like optimize for specific keywords when you're searching on like AI search, I believe it was. And it's not yet clear like how exactly these optimizations impact AI search engines. But what I personally noticed is that um, probably AI search will provide results still based on some kind of authority. I'm not sure if it's gonna be still be like backlinks or other metrics, but it's still probably gonna be authority, like the main thing that. provides results.
Real estate agents, are you tired of chasing leads? If you're struggling to find quality sellers or feel like marketing takes up too much time, DMR Media can help. We specialize in getting real estate agents high quality leads, ready to buy leads through SEO and pay per lead approach. That means basically no upfront cost and zero risk. You pay when we deliver results. Imagine a steady flow of clients finding you on Google while you focus on closing deals. We've done it for agents like Cade Covey, who earned an extra $80,000 in just 3 months with our system. Take back your time and get results. Visit dmrmedia.org to learn more about how we can make your marketing work for you. My guess is it's going to be mentions because AI can detect if
Uh,
you're talking about it.
maybe,
And so
maybe.
you could do kind of a mixed. Are you what's the Ninja SEO one? I can't think of their name. Anyways, it's they have a YouTube channel as well, but they do SEO. They did a whole thing.
Yeah, I think I know them.
Yeah. So they did a whole thing on how to rank and they were playing around with it. And here's kind of what they found. One, optimize for Bing actually instead of Google because Search GPT uses Bing. Perplexity also uses Bing and it's easier to rank on Bing than it is on Google.
Yeah.
So it uses both. So rank for Bing as well. Two, you want to go do a lot of statistics. So like unique statistics to you.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I can see
then
that.
like what was the other one? There was one other thing, but I'm blanking on it right now. Like it slipped my mind. But basically optimize for Bing as well. Because I think a lot of people just kind of let Bing fall by the wayside. And even though it has less search, if people are going to search GPT, Perplexity, these things, you need to rank on it if you're going to show up.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, I can see like the whole thing with the statistics, but about mentions, I'm not really sure because I think like if it's actually mentions that determine whether you are gonna get like on AI search or not, I think it's very easy to abuse. So I'm not really sure because I believe also like the mention like the whole mentions thing was a thing also on Google, but a lot of years ago, and because people were abusing it so much like in like comments like blog post comments or something like that, because they were abusing it so much they got rid of it, and that's why they have backlinks now, at least from what I know, because I've been only like I've been in SEO for about 2 to 3 years, so I'm not really sure how SEO worked like 15 years ago, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. If they did do mentions, food for thought, they could remedy it simply by doing super high authority websites. So like it only counts if it's like a DA80 and
Mm,
it's not a comment. So it's like actually built into the website. It's actual.
okay, I mean, but at that point it would be just basically backlinks.
Yeah, basically. The, it's curious to see what people are going to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem that I have with AI search right now is that, I mean, it's for sure like it's been a very long time since Google has had someone like to compete with them. So it's always a good thing in my opinion. I'm not really scared of it because I mean, at the end of the day, even if AI search dethrones Google, we are still gonna be like doing optimization for AI search. So it doesn't really matter. You're just changing like the tool, but you're still optimizing for it. uh, I mean, for now, yeah, it's doing good, but it's still very far away from dethroning Google, and I think it's gonna be like that for a very long time. So I don't know. In the far future, maybe we could be looking at AI search rather than Google.
Yeah. Do you run Google Ads at all?
No, no, not really.
Okay.
I have run some ads like in the past, like when I was a copywriter, because before being an SEO, I was a copywriter, like a DM copywriter, but I don't really do any ads. I just focus specifically on SEO.
So here's one thing that I found really fun is running Google Ads with a low ad spend and then doing exact match keywords. So I can test what keywords are actually converting as long as I set up a conversion metric.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense because I mean, you can get like the cost per click, like KPIs from like SEMrush and Ahrefs, but most times they are not exactly like true. if that makes sense. So yeah, testing them, like if you have the budget and if you have the time to do that, and you have like big keywords that you want to rank for, like specifically for commercial keywords, yeah, that I can see that
So
working.
the other reason why it's really big advantage is, like I said, we have like Zillow and Realtor.com in real estate, right? So the reality is we're
Yep.
never going to dethrone them. So all we have to do is we just run ads on those keywords. We say like, fuck it, whatever, like who cares? And then we optimize for everything else.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I can see that.
The one thing that I'm going to say with AI search is how are ads going to work within that? Are you going to pay for them to cite you?
I don't know, because I mean, at the moment, at least from what I like, from the few AIs that I've used, like no AI has ads in them. Maybe that will change in the future, because I can see that being very profitable for them. Like right now, like ChatGPT has nothing on it except for the text part, but I can see it being super profitable for them, like in the like billions and billions of dollars for them. So probably in the future, yeah, it will be probably a reality, because I mean, even Google itself, they used to basically not, I mean, they used to have ads, but in the past their ads were a lot more discreet compared to now. And they they've always been saying that they don't want to like prioritize ads as opposed to organic search. But like look at Google, where Google is now. Like ads basically are 80% of the search. So I think that AI will probably go on the same course as Google in the, I don't know how long into the future that would be, that but that will probably happen.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So with ads on essentially GPT, search GPT, that's could potentially happen.
Yeah.
What about Google running a lot of ads? Has that impacted you at all?
Uh, Me personally, not, because I mean maybe it was the like the specific industries of my clients that didn't get impacted a lot. Because I mean, if you are working in an industry like a niche that runs a lot of ads, then in that case you will probably get impacted a lot from that. In my personal experience, not, but I have like discussed with a lot of other SEOs, and they have like, since all the like changes to the SERPs, where the ads basically get like 50% of the whole like window when you're searching for something. They've definitely seen a like a downgrade, like they've definitely seen like their traffic going down
Okay.
in the past few years.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that's been the experience in real estate. All right. I don't have anything else for you. Is there anything you would like to say?
Like ask to you specifically.
Sure. For the audience, for me, you pick.
Yeah, like, do you like what I told about SEO is basically very like they're very core principles, if that makes sense. Like, do you like what are some specific SEO like tactics that you use specifically for the real estate? Because as I mentioned before, I have worked with some real estate businesses, especially when I was a copywriter. But now that I'm an SEO, I haven't had like the pleasure to work with anyone in the real estate business. So, what do you do specifically that has helped you in the past few years for real estate specifically?
Actually, what's really funny is not optimizing as much for volume of search. I'm optimizing significantly more for intent. So, give you a good example.
Mhm.
Homes for sale oftentimes is navigational. People are just looking for people looking to for houses, right? Looking at
Yeah,
houses, they don't necessarily want to pick a realtor. But when they go like insert city realtor, insert city real estate agent, or insert city like real estate, those are the ones you want to optimize for because they're looking for the realtor.
yeah,
And 9 times out of 10, if you optimize for those, the like homes buy come as a byproduct of it. So you rank for it anyways.
yeah. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's also a problem with with international SEO, because you will find a lot of content, like even not just content, but also like product pages and like landing pages that don't really like meet the search intent. Even people who are ranking like in the top spots, they are just way off when it comes to the search intent. So yeah, it's definitely something that more people should look at when they're trying to rank for SEO, like on Google specifically.
I honestly think it's one of the most important things, especially if you want to
Yeah.
get clients out of it. Because I do pay per lead. So I do SEO and then I get paid based on the amount of leads I bring in.
Hmm.
And so it's really, really important to get that intent right. Otherwise, like you said,
Yeah.
it's not going to be profitable SEO. You gotta do something.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
So that question, where would you like to send people? Like
What?
social medias, where do you want to send people?
Yeah, I mainly am on social media, specifically on LinkedIn. I also have a Twitter, but my main social media is LinkedIn.
All
I
right.
also have a website, and I can send both to you. But yeah, mainly if you want to know more about SEO and specifically about e-commerce SEO, but in general about SEO, I post a lot of like informative content, like video content about SEO. You can follow me on there on LinkedIn.